Hey there, fifth grade. Very, very happy Tuesday to you. I hope that your week got off to a great start yesterday, and I'm excited for us to get all in on our learning. At this point in time, there are quite a few of us whose grades are really low, so I want to make sure that you are logging on to Jupiter every single day. The way that you want to think of it is that logging on to Jupiter is always the first thing you do. So Jupiter can kind of be like going to homeroom to eat breakfast. We do it every day, and it starts our day every day. You're getting a grade in homeroom for logging into Jupiter, so that counts, right? And then you can also see in Jupiter which assignments you have been doing and which ones are pulling you down because you haven't been doing them. You need to make sure you're spending 60 minutes a day doing your work for just ELA East. You have other classes as well. And if you would like a personalized schedule, I would love to make one for you. If you send me a Jupiter message, I can make it the colors that you like, the time that you want, and in the order that you want, so that you have a real schedule that you can be following. For today, I just want to remind you how to get into our work. So when you log into the Google Classroom, you'll see all of your classes on the screen in front of you. You're going to click this one for our ELA East class. And then you'll see on the stream your work posted, right? Or you can go to classwork and you can choose today. So today is Tuesday, 4/21. It says, hey squad, here is your ELA East work for today. Good luck, have fun. P.S. Can you believe Grandpop? I wonder what Ernie and Jeannie are going to do. There's just so much mystery right now. We're going to open up this worksheet and it's going to guide us through our lesson, just like we've been doing for about the last 3 weeks. So first thing first, you're going to pause this video and you're going to answer this do now question. Write 4 or more sentences in the, answering the question, who is a family member that you admire? Now, are you going to get full credit for one sentence? Mason. Right. If you write one sentence, you'll get 25%. If you write 4 sentences, you'll get a 100%. So click pause and go ahead and write 4 sentences to answer that question. All right. If you are looking at me again, that means that you finished answering that question and you are ready for vocabulary. The first thing we're going to do is review page 123. Let's get there. We are going to review page 124. We already did page 123's review, and then we're going to go over your work for today. So page 124 was all filling in the blank, and here are your correct answers. All right, page 124, a toast to toast. The first one is appliances. The second one is rotate. The third one is presentable. From field to field, the first one is migrants. The second one is abused, followed by dazed, pitiless, shreds, and neutral. And then for running on empty, we have gauge, confirm, and then flimsy. I want you to look at your book now. You're going to do page 125 today, which is right here. And we're going to start by reading this top section together. This is such a good piece of a lesson. It's vocabulary, but it's also reading comprehension, because if you have this skill, you can more effectively break down any words that you come across. So up at the top, it says, you have learned that a prefix is a word part that's added to the beginning of a base word to make it into a new word. You can add the prefix re to confirm to make the new word. So the prefix re, R-E, means again or back. So re plus confirm equals reconfirm, which means to confirm again. Re plus pay equals repay, which means to pay back, all right? In, the prefix in can mean not, and it can also mean in or into. So for insight, it means to see into. For immigrate, it means to enter another country or area to live. Using the prefixes in and re, I want you to go ahead and complete numbers 1 through 10. And then if you can do that last piece for a little extra, go ahead and do it and let me know. All right, so pause your video right now and please do page 125. All right, if you clicked play again, that means you are ready to read our pages today. Today we're going to start on chapter 13, page 236. And we're going to read until page 246. Right now, there are a lot of different conflicts going on in the story. We have lots of mysteries that we're trying to solve and things that we're interested in and hoping will be resolved soon so that we know what's going on. Let's keep reading and see if we can answer some of those questions. For example, what are they going to do about Michael Jackson, the dead bird? Now we know about this house in the woods and the history. So what does that teach us about Grandpa? And a lot more. Page 236. Number 471, how do you catch birds? Number 472, how does a house catch a tree? Number 473, how do you catch topsy-turvy? Jeannie spent most of the rest of the day on the front porch, waiting and hoping, please, 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 for another swallow to magically land in front of him so that he could try to trap it and somehow get it into the house and into the cage without anyone knowing, which was a terrible plan, but it was a plan nonetheless. When he wasn't bird stalking, he was hanging out with Grandpop, dangerously in the inside-outside room, trying his best to not ask about the yellow house or Grandpop's father. Not to mention, the room was one bird short, and Jeannie was also trying not to be weird about that, especially since Grandpop hadn't noticed the one bird short part. Grandpop was going on and on about Ernie's 14th birthday and how big of a deal turning the big 1-4 was. Turns out, it was a North Hill tradition started by Grandpop after a 14-year-old black boy named Emmett Till was killed for whistling at a white woman when Grandpop was younger. Emmett Till is who Anila also was for our wax museum this year, and we talked a little bit about what happened to him in his story in class. It scared him so bad that when he had kids of his own and they turned 14, he taught them and all the other boys around, including Crab, the only thing he knew, how to shoot. Grandpop said back then it was self-defense, but now it was just all in good fun. Jeannie, however, could barely pay attention because he was too distracted with, well, being distracting. He made lots of noise, fussing with the plants, shifting the pots around, turning the volume up ever so slightly on the outdoor sounds from the cassette player to cover for the one missing chirp. And when he wasn't hanging out at the scene of the crime, Jeannie was down at Tess's, using her internet, obsessively looking up other ways to capture birds. "I can't believe y'all really went there," Tess exclaimed after Ernie went through the story of the birds and the cages in the backyard and the tree growing up through the house and how creepy it all was. But telling it like he was some kind of tough guy. "You gotta take me," Tess kept saying, all excited. "Yeah, but I only saw one swallow," Jeannie said grimly, staring at the computer screen. Google, Jeannie's most loyal partner, was once again coming up blank. Well, not blank, but not exactly helpful, because most of the links were for buying birds, and Jeannie didn't have any money besides the $10 that Grandma had given him. And birds cost way more than $10. "Yeah, but one is all you need," Tess said. "Don't birds move in packs?" Ernie chimed in. "Flocks," Jeannie corrected with a headshake, clicking another link. As he scrolled, read, clicked, and X'd, Tess started coming up with her own ideas on how to bird nap. "Look, we tie a basket to a fishing pole. Then we put some bird food, some flies, on the ground right on the side of the porch there. Then we stand on the porch with a rod and basket, and we wait for the birds to come and eat. And boom, we drop the basket right on them." "That's a good idea," Ernie said. No comment from Jeannie. "Or we just forget about the basket and just put some flies on a fishing hook and go fishing for birds. Burden. I guarantee the hook won't kill it," Right. I like where your head's at, from Ernie again. Jeannie looked horrified, but Tess went right into another idea. How about this? How about we get a sticky pad, like the kind that you use to catch mice? We put the flies on that. The birds come and eat it and get stuck, and boom, we got him. Yo, I think that's genius, from Ernie, of course. Bet you do, Jeannie thought, steaming. He was trying to keep his head from blowing off. We need the bird to be alive. Of course, and it will be. For a while, Tess replied. What could Jeannie say to that? Tess went on, and Jeannie decided to tune her and butt-kissing Ernie out, and to keep searching online. He changed his search from how to get birds to how to trap birds, and bingo. Funny how something so small, like one word, could change so much. Jeannie scrolled through a few links before stopping on how to make a bird trap, and his heart began to pound. Hey guys, check this out, he said, moving aside. Tess leaned in, squinting to get a better look. Then she put her hands together and dimpled. What do we need? 15 minutes later, Jeannie, Ernie, and Tess were at Marlin's. Now, what else? Jim the bartender topped off a beer for a woman who was paying more attention to Tess than drinking. She flashed a gold-toothed smile as Tess explained what they needed. Buzz, went the fly zapper. A mousetrap. We need a mousetrap, Tess said. So, a liquor crate, some of them dead flies, a straw, and a mousetrap? Yep. Do I even want to know? Jim asked, gathering loose dollar bills off of the bar and stuffing them into a pitcher full of money labeled tip or else next to the register. Nope, and neither does my daddy, Tess said. Jim shot his eyes from her to Jeannie and then Ernie. He smirked. Gotcha. Jeannie carried the liquor crate, which was just a wooden box made of slats, which he thought was great because if they did actually catch a swallow, it would be able to breathe. He also had the baggie of flies because no one else would carry them. There weren't as many as Crab brought to Grandpop, but definitely enough to entice a swallow. Ernie had the straw and the mousetrap. It was the old snapping kind, the kind that Ma used back home to bait the mice with globs of peanut butter. The rest of the materials Tess already had at her house: hammer, nails, glue, and string. The assembly. Step 1. Cut the straw down to 1 inch and push one end of it around the trigger of the mouse trap, the part that you normally put the cheese on. Step 2. Glue a few flies to the other end of the straw. A fly lollipop. Yummy. Step 3. Nail the mouse trap with the straw attached to the ground so that it is stable. Number 4. Tie one end of the string to the trappy part of the mouse trap, the spring-loaded arm, the part that breaks the mouse's neck. Yikes. Step 5. Tie the other end of the string to the top of the inside of the box. In this case, just wrap it around one of the slats. Step 6. Set the trap carefully by pulling the snappy, trappy arm back, setting the trigger, and propping the box up on one side so that when the trap goes off, it yanks the string and it drops the box over the bird. I know, it seems confusing, but just picture every cartoon trap you've ever seen. Note, the straw connected to the trigger makes it so when the bird eats the flies and set off the trap, the arm does not snap down on the bird's neck. Instead, it just snaps down on the straw. No broke neck birds here. Ernie and Ernie couldn't set the trap up in the yard. Grandma was always out there. Tess couldn't set it up in her yard either. She wasn't worried about her mother wondering what it was, because her mother never left the house. It was her father, she told them. She didn't want him being nosy, because she didn't want to have to lie to him. but she would have because she couldn't snitch on Jeannie. She also couldn't put it in the yard because Crab cut the grass and would have probably run it right over. And all of this was okay because the one place that made the most sense anyway was the yellow house. Well, not in the yellow house, but out in the yard where Jeannie had seen the swallow right before Ernie had caused the bird-nado. Plus, Tess wanted to see the house anyway, so back through the woods they went for the second time in one day. When they got there, Tess dropped her portion of the bird trap supplies. "Oh my," she said, staring up, a hand over her mouth. "I gotta see inside." "I'll take you." Ernie jumped to it, all puffed up like he was some kind of hero. Jeannie wasn't impressed. His mind was on other things, like what they had come to do. "Y'all go ahead, and I'll just do this all by myself. No problem. No problem at all." And as Jeannie was saying it, hoping it would guilt Tess and Ernie back into hanging back, the lovebirds grabbed hands and headed for the door. Sheesh. So Jeannie got to work. He surveyed the area and decided to set a trap up not far from where he saw the swallow the first time. It just made sense, and it was far enough away from the yellow house, Jeannie figured, that the hundreds of non-swallows wouldn't mess with it. From the front door of the yellow house, about 19 steps forward and 12 steps to the right, a clear view of both the front and the side of the house. He laid everything out and started constructing it, the world's simplest model ever. A few minutes later, just as Jeannie carefully set the trap, the box perfectly propped up, wham! Ernie slammed the door, and Tess came darting across the yard, squealing, looking over her shoulder at the squawking storm of birds. Jeannie, startled, tipped the string off and set the trap. "Ugh! That place is crazy!" Tess exclaimed, pulling up beside Jeannie, panting. Jeannie didn't respond. He just lifted the box and pulled the spring mechanism of the mousetrap back until it clicked into place again. Tess hunkered down to get a better look. "The trap looks good, man." Ernie trotted up beside her. "Yeah, it does," Ernie added, wiping his hands on his shorts. Jeannie glanced over at them and tried his best to not give them the worst ice grill ever as he slowly pulled his hands away from the box. It was like he had just finished building a house of cards. "I know," he said, "a bit cold, a bit cool. But now we wait." And that's what they did. They leaned against a tree a few feet back, Jeannie, of course, looking out for snakes, spiders, and anthills, and waited. But it didn't happen in the 5 minutes Jeannie thought it would. Or 10. Or 30. Tess said that her mother always told her that a watched pot don't boil, so the best thing to do would be to leave it alone and go on about their business. She said they should just come back and check it every day until something happened. Jeannie reluctantly agreed. In the meantime, Operation Birdnap expanded into Phase 3, Operation Pretend. As in, Jeannie was just going to try to pretend like everything was fine. Nothing was different. 5 birds? No, there had always been 4, right? Michael Jackson? What Michael Jackson? There's 4 swallows and a parrot, right? No parrot? Ah, okay, no parrot. Right, just 4 swallows. Just 4 swallows. And it was working. Every morning for the next 4 days, Jeannie would have a moment of reflection, or panic, about the broken red truck before Ernie talked him down. Then breakfast. Talked to Ma and Dad, who were getting increasingly excited about Jamaica, if they called. Chores, Samantha, Grandpop, panic, inside, outside room, which, by the way, was where Jeannie transformed into even more of a neat freak nut job. In addition to watering the plants, plucking the dead leaves, cleaning the poo from the cages, even Michael Jackson's cage, R.I.P., feeding the birds their cuisine of freshly zapped flies, vacuuming the grass carpet, Windexing the window. He even cleaned the dog poop off of the outside, dusting Grandpa's cassette player and table, and even performing terrible renditions of the Jackson 5 performances for the Jackson 5, now 4. Jeannie was determined to make that room perfect, to panic clean everything, even though the thing of it was, he still couldn't clean Michael Jackson out of his mind. But still, he knew that this hard work, along with Ernie's big 1-4, was keeping Grandpa from suspecting anything. And that is all that mattered. Those are our 10 pages for today. So we have done our do now, vocab, reading. Time to finish it all up with writing. Go back to your worksheet and do 4 or more sentences as a journal entry, and then click turn in. Remember, I can't see your work unless you click turn in, so I need you to make sure you're doing that. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Bye. Oh, vocab quiz Friday. Don't forget.